Blue Jackets have been around for 23 years, guys, so it's okay to draft an all-time lineup. That's what Jay and I are doing on this Thursday's episode of Locked On Blue Jackets.
You're Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Hayden Houshorn. With me is my co-host, Jay Foster. We're here to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of your favorite team and ours, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Jay, I feel like it's safe to say the Blue Jackets have been around long enough to draft an all-time roster. So we're going to have some fun on this Thursday. The vibes are good. We just had a fun chat with a very special guest that we will have for you guys next week in the middle of the week sometime. So keep your eyes open for that. But Jay, we've wanted to do this one for a while. We've wanted to draft an all-time roster. We've had some guys that we've been thinking about drafting first overall, but now we just looked at the list. Surprisingly, a lot of fun names to choose from. Were you as surprised as I was as like, wow, we have a really fun draftable list? Because like the Blue Jackets have been kind of a rotating door. It's just been guys going in and out of the organization. So there's plenty of places to go.
Yeah, 100%. I was like, okay, well, there's obviously the two big names at the start for forwards. And then I kind of looked into it and I was like, oh, there's a lot of fun names on this list. Like guys that have, even not necessarily guys that have had good careers in Columbus, just guys that have had good careers, full stop. You know, like the Blue Jackets have, I think, 2 or 3 guys that hit 1,000 games in the NHL, which is super impressive. So we'll see if any of those guys make the draft. I know Hayden flipped a coin last week. It's my turn to flip a coin. I did a couple of practice runs, almost took my own eye out. So what we're going to do instead is I am just going to do this. And I'm going to ask Hayden to call heads or tails.
Oh, this is cool. This is fancy right here. Tails never fails. Let's go tails.
Okay, let's flip. That is
brutal.
Heads.
Tough.
So
I think it's you, Jay.
We'll set the things back up fine. So I guess that means I'm going first. Which do
That's cool.
who do
That's
I
cool.
draft is the thing.
Yeah, you got places to go.
A lot of fun names that you can take first overall. And I am going to go ahead and take. You know what I'm just going to do? I'm just going to go ahead and take Rick Nash. Played 9 years.
It.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, man, there's so many names. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm not going to do a Pat Verbeek. Little stray for the Ducks there. He played for Columbus between 2003 2012. Is the current franchise scoring leader. He has 447 points in 674 games. Just the best player that this franchise has had, I think, up until now. He could see some of his records broken soon, but not too soon. So that is my first guy. I'm going to write his name down so I remember who is drafting who. But okay, Hayden, who's your first overall draft pick?
Yeah, that was kind of a no-brainer right there, Jay. So I'm glad you took him once I saw the heads on that maybe questionably rigged simulator that Jay had, but you know what?
You saw the screen. I couldn't rig it if I tried. I took me like 10 minutes to figure out how to share my screen. I'm not rigging Google coin flips.
Anyway, Jay's got Rick Nash, the greatest Blue Jacket, the only player to have his number in the rafters. So really significant pick there. The Jackets have a few options at take Artemi Panarin, who, just looking at the all-time leaders list, he has the best plus-minus in CBJ history right now at plus 37. That's shockingly low. I feel like if I looked up the Bruins, I don't know who it would be at the
There's been
top.
some very bad plus minuses in this.
But as long as Artemi Panarin has that record for me, that's cool enough. That's a cool record for him to have for a guy that was only here for 2 years and had that much of an impact, was a part of the team that got the furthest in the playoffs. So that's also no brainer for me. I'm going to take Artemi Panarin at the left wing. So how do we do the next
round?
Snake
draft, or are we doing?
I'm a fan of.
You go ahead.
I'm a fan of snake drafts. Okay. Okay.
We'll do snake draft.
I'm also not going to overthink this position. It is only right for me to take this guy because if you ask me, I think he's the next name to go in the rafters next to Rick Nash.
Oh, I'm going to fight you for this.
I think there might be a day where we throw number 72 in the rafters. I'm taking Sergei Bobrovsky. Bob, he's on the case. Sergio, playoff Bob. I don't think I'm just going to keep it straight. Two Vezinas. So
yeah, best goalie this franchise has ever had. I miss him. He did really well in the playoffs this year. He was going to be my pick. I was like, I'm going to swoop in and take a goalie while no one else is thinking about goalies. And you sniped him out from under me, which I think is rude because I am the goalie here.
You get 2 in a row here, though. So big swing.
Okay, so I'm going to pick twice now. Okay, I'm going to go with my first pick. I'm going to go ahead and take Zach Werenski on D. The best defenseman that the Blue Jackets have ever had. It's going to get slightly harder from here out now that we've taken like the best forward, the best goalie, and the best defenseman. Let me just write that in on my sheet. And then for my second player, I am going to... Well, I don't need to worry about a goalie now because I don't have to... You've got the good one, so I don't have to worry about a goalie. So I can pick...
You got options, yeah.
Someone else. I am going to pick... Nick Foligno at forward.
It's a good pick.
It was going to be him or a different guy, but I'm going to go with Nick Foligno, former captain. Played really, really well, was the heart and soul of this team, struggled in later years, I think, due to a combination of injuries and that C being very heavy on his chest, but
I had him as my number one.
Nick Foligno, man.
I had him as my number one center. He's the jersey that I have hanging behind me. He's the cap. You need him to win hockey games. He's going to be... Gosh, and there's a reason why teams like the Boston Bruins went out and got him. There's a reason why the teams like the Toronto Maple Leafs
for him from
Toronto. Where is he at? Is he signed with Chicago?
In Chicago, which is terrible. It's a personal attack on me. Stop sending players I like to Chicago.
Maybe it was just,
it was in the Taylor Hall trade, I believe. And then he was a pending UFA, and then they re-signed him for a truly hilarious amount of money. I think he's making like $4 million this season, which I love.
Good for him.
Uncle Nick. That's so much money for what? 34-year-old Nick Foligno?
Yeah, I'm going to have to boo the daylights out of him when he shows up in a Chicago Blackhawks uniform. That's just unfortunate for him. But
do we want to take a quick break and then get
back
to...
thank you.
To the draft.
Yeah, I was getting too ahead of myself. I was having too much fun.
I was like, you're getting too excited here.
Yeah.
We need to slow this
all right.
down.
We're going to come back. And is it going to be your turn next? Or you just drafted 2 in a row?
No,
you took Zach Werenski. You took Zach Werenski and Nick Foligno. I have Artemi Panarin, Bobrovsky. He's, of course, already got the greatest player of all time to wear Blue Jackets uniform, Rick Nash. We will do the rest of the lineup coming up next on Locked On Blue Jackets. Fall is just everybody's favorite time of the year. It's your favorite time of the year. You're going to want to go to America's #1 sports book. That's FanDuel, because they're giving you a chance to win all season long. Right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get a bonus bet every time that team wins in the regular season. Just pick any team that you think is going to win the Super Bowl. It doesn't have to be an Ohio team. It can be, the Buffalo Bills. It can be the Kansas City Chiefs. Anytime that they win a regular season game, you get bonus bets. You can also use your bonus bets to bet on spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Have all the fun this fall and visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. We're drafting all-time Blue Jackets lineups. We got my turn next, and I don't have any defensemen. I don't really know where to go with this next one, if I'm being completely honest. I don't know which generation to go to. I don't know whether to go, that swept the Tampa Bay Lightning era, which I've already gotten 2 guys from, so I don't think I'm going to go there. I don't know whether to go old or really new here, but guess what? I'm going to go really new here because as we're going through season reviews, this guy pops on the screen every single time, and I don't understand why he'd ever get hate from anybody. I've heard some people give him hate for, he's not good enough to win in the playoffs. He can't play consistently, whatever. I'm taking Patrik Laine on my right wing. I feel like that with Artemi Panarin could be.
That is an all-time great combo. Panarin
Yes.
and Laine hooking up like.
I promise I'm gonna go. That was a very Generation Z pick. I know it was like, Hayden, you clearly just got to Locked On Blue Jackets. You've been a Blue Jackets fan for 2 seconds. Hayden doesn't know puck. I don't care. I'm excited about Patrik Laine this year. Okay, just let me live in.
I fully support this pick.
Let me live in Patrik Laine
on my
land.
short list as well, but
I think do I get to go again?
Yeah,
I feel like that's wrong.
I know the snake draft is throwing me off. So yeah, you get one more pick. It's
kind of yeah. All right. I think I have to pick a defenseman now. I think I gotta get somebody on that blue line, and I think
I'm gonna take another one. So
I think that guy is gonna be Seth Jones. I think it's gonna be Seth Jones. I think he's exactly that. That's a great word to describe Seth Jones. Solid. The most solid defenseman I think the Blue Jackets have ever had. He's gonna. I want him to have a good rest of his NHL career. Not necessarily. I hope it's not with Chicago. Maybe I'd like him to move on. But if it is in Chicago and he has a good year, I'm not going to be surprised because he's a really good player. Taking Seth Jones.
Yeah, solid. Good selection. Let's see. I'm gonna take a defenseman. I'm going to take Fedor Tutin,
nice.
It was either going to be him or someone else, but I like Fedor Tutin. Hasn't played in a minute. I believe is working with the team as either a scout or as part of their player development, which you love to see. He's a scout
in Europe, yeah.
Yes,
I think he lives in Europe.
Scouts. Played for 8 seasons with the Blue Jackets, and logged a whole bunch of minutes. He averaged 22 minutes a game, which that is a lot of minutes for a guy like that. So that's going to be my first pick. Write that down. I'm going to spell his name wrong. I'm so sorry, Fedor. I also spelled Werenski's name wrong, which it's fine. I'm doing great over here.
You got the top 2 point leaders on defense. I'm kind of salty about that. I'm kind of salty about that, actually.
Well,
you sniped Tutin underneath me.
So now it's war.
Oh.
Okay, my last forward. There's 2 obvious ones here, and I feel like I should go for an older player, just because a lot of my roster is. No, my roster is about 50-50 for current Blue Jackets.
You got Rick Nash. Yeah, come on, you're doing good.
I'm going to go with, I feel like whichever one I don't pick, you're just going to take for your last forward spot. And so it doesn't really matter. I am going to take Johnny Gaudreau.
I like that. That's a good match to my Laine. Like a good, I took a guy from the new team, from the new era of Blue Jackets, the new era of Coats, and yeah, you sniped that one.
Johnny Gaudreau setting up Rick Nash in this hypothetical world where they're the same age. That sounds like
a good time.
Sounds pretty fun to me. You've got Nick Foligno out there banging and crashing around. So that's all my forward core. So 2 more picks for you.
Yep. Okay. I am going to go defenseman here and take Rusty Kessler.
Nice.
I think it's the only right move because he was the first draft pick in Blue Jackets history. And I feel like he never really got the chance with Jan Hayda. So just move on from that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just pretend that. I know he was on my short list. I was like, if you take Werenski and Jones somehow, like Rusty's on there. Rusty
Yeah,
and
I'm taking
Chin
Rusty.
would be a very old but very mean combination on the blue line, I feel like.
Well, with Seth Jones, too, I feel like that's just going to work out. I feel like Rusty's going to explore his offensive side a lot more when he was playing with Jan. It didn't really look good, and it felt like it was more Jan's fault. It just reminds me of kind of a lot of the defensive pairs that we're watching today play out. Like, wow,
sure.
really good young talent on one side of the line. Kind of like really solid talent, but nothing that is going to lead the way necessarily. So
Right.
I'll finish up down the middle here, and I just think this line might not have enough grit. Now that I'm looking at it, actually, I'm going to change it up. I was going to go. I'll tell you. Can I say what I was going to go? No, I'm
Well,
not.
I'm all
Gonna
full
do
up on
camp.
forwards. I only have the
Yeah.
goalie to go, so you can talk me through your process for your last forward.
Gonna take Brandon Dubinsky because I didn't want to take Alex Wenberg at the end because I felt like that's a little too soft with Panarin, Wenberg, and Laine.
I mean, I went for three wings, like, so you could have gone for three wingers.
I wanted to take Alexander Wenberg, but I just decided to take Dubinsky because I felt like he played with an edge. I felt like there's enough skill between Laine and Panarin that Dubinsky could absolutely flourish on a line like that.
True.
He was a solid player defensively.
I know. I liked Dubinsky. I don't know if we talk about it a lot on this show, but I love Brandon Dubinsky. I miss him, and the way he would make Sidney Crosby insane every single time the Penguins faced off against the Blue Jackets. That's a solid team.
Do you have any? You have to take a goalie. I'm pretty sure.
I have to take a goalie. I know, but I deliberately left it to last because I was like, well, I don't need to.
Are you going to think about it? Do you want to wait till after the break, or do you want to hit this? Do you want to go now?
Let's take a break, and I will very quickly think about it.
We also have some other positions we want to draft. Yeah, we got a head coach. I think we were going to do that.
Yes.
Maybe we should do we could do jerseys or something. I don't know. Maybe we could do a tradition or something. I don't know.
Let's start with coach, and then we'll talk about whose lineup would win.
Okay. There you go. All right, we'll do that in just a second on Locked On Blue Jackets. All right, just to go over the lineups one more time before Jay gets to draft his goalie, I have Artemi Panarin. I have I have Artemi Panarin, Brandon Dubinsky, Patrik Laine. Defense, I got Seth Jones, Rusty, and Bob at goalie. You have Rick Nash, Nick Foligno, Johnny Gaudreau, Zach Werenski, and Tutin.
Yes. So goalies again. We'll go through my kind of thought process because I'm like, okay, there's really only two options here, and one of them is Steve Mason, and the other one is Elvis Merzlikins. Steve Mason has a higher career save percentage with the Blue Jackets, I believe, or no, he has more wins. He has 96 wins. Elvis only has 55. Elvis has a slightly higher career save percentage with a 906 versus Steve Mason's 903. And quite frankly, I like Elvis more than Steve. Sorry, Steve Mason, if you're listening. Sorry, buddy. So I'm going to go Elvis. And I'm going to hope that I get rookie Elvis and not last season's Elvis. I could also have gone wildcard and gone Korpisalo, but I love Elvis, man.
That was my backup. I think Korpisalo sneakily is the second best all-time goalie that we've had so far.
Mm-hmm.
Elvis could.
Yes, I agree.
Elvis needs to have a good year this year for me to maybe revisit the same conversation sometime next year in our season reviews. In the midst of summer, we admit, hey, Elvis is the second best goalie of all time, you know?
Mhm.
But I think Corpy might be, like, in terms of his tenure, and he was part of
Right, so
that.
that's the thing. Elvis only has 3 seasons under his belt.
Right. Korpisalo's was like
Korpisalo's been mediocre.
6 or
Korpisalo
7.
was drafted in, like, 2012.
Yeah.
He won a Calder Cup with the Monsters in 2016. He was an All-Star in his first season, not being a backup behind Bob. Like, yeah, he's struggled, but he's quietly been quite good for this team.
You draft a
Coaches.
coach. Yeah. I think you get
Yeah.
to it's your turn. So,
Okay. I was gonna say, do we want to just continue the snake draft? I mean, let's see. You know what? Screw it. I'm taking Tortorella. I think the lineup I have will work with Tortorella. I know Foligno loved playing under Tortorella. I think Werenski flourished under Tortorella. That's what I'm doing. I'm going Torts for my coach.
I think your team beats mine just because I think Tootin and Zach Werenski is better than my
I think it's
pair
going to
and
come
Jones.
down to, I think the offense, I think, is probably pretty even. We've got 2 skill guys and a grit guy. I think my defense beats yours, but your goalie beats mine. So it really depends on
My name of the coach.
yeah.
I don't think I'm allowed to draft anybody that hasn't coached a Blue Jackets game.
Right. Like, I don't know. I might allow you to take Mike Babcock if you really wanted
I don't
to, but
even
it
know if
does
I
feel
want
like
to, though.
cheating because he hasn't actually.
Guess what? I'm not going to. I'm not going to.
There is
So don't even worry
there is
about it.
another option that I think that you could go with that I think will be quite good that I considered, but we'll see if you.
I'm going to take Ken Hitchcock.
Yeah, that was my other selection.
He was the only. Those are the only 2 coaches on my list. Jay
Yeah.
Torts and Ken Hitchcock. Only 2 guys
That's the only 2 names that have really done anything.
Yeah.
Like Todd Richards was fine, but not great. Brad
Gerard
Larson
Gallant
obviously
was
is.
I was
He's
like,
out there.
he's out there.
Like I'm looking at this list, like they had Gerard Gallant might be an option, but
No, not as good as Hitchcock. In the
No.
time he was a Blue Jackets head coach, I felt like
Right.
Hitchcock got the job done. I could. Yeah, that was the only place I was at. I could have taken Pascal Vincent, really mixed it up, been like, he coached a game, that counts.
Yeah, just gone real wild card.
Yeah. Who else coached a game? Yeah.
Yeah, Gerard Gallant was a coach for a while. Scott Arniel, Doug McLean.
Doug McLean. He was the OG coach, right?
No, that was Dave King. Was the inaugural coach from 2001 to 2003.
Jeez.
Doug McLean took over for a season. Then it was
How many
Gerard
coaches
Gallant.
have we
Then it was
had?
Ken Hitchcock. Then Claude Noel, Scott Arniel, Todd Richards, Tortorella, Larson. Todd Richards,
That's a lot of names.
Todd Richards was not terrible in his tenure. The Blue Jackets were 127, 112, and 21. So they had a 5.29 winning percentage with Todd Richards, which is good for the second best on the team. Third best, excuse me, if you count Claude Noel, who coached for 24 games.
Yeah, I'm going to just take Hitchcock and just hope that that's magical. I mean, he coached Steve Mason to a Calder somehow. I'm just going to give him credit for that. I'm just going to give that all to Ken Hitchcock.
He's a very good coach. He wasn't necessarily the best for the Blue Jackets. He was fine.
He coached. How many teams did he coach? He coached the Blues. He coached Dallas as of recently.
Yes. Okay. So Dallas, Philadelphia, Columbus, St. Louis, Dallas again, and Edmonton.
Okay.
So he's coached. Yeah, he's been around.
I still think your team's
1,598 NHL games, had a 5.99 winning percentage in total.
Okay.
Decent.
Can we take
decent choice.
Can we take a CBJ tradition? I'm gonna take
what
the cannon.
What is the CBJ tradition?
I'm gonna take the cannon. I don't know. Any
Oh, you
tradition.
want to draft the CBJ tradition?
Yeah,
If you're
I
going to
drafted
the canon, then...
the canon.
God, I guess what I will do is I was like, do I take Leo or do I take those big sticks of bacon that you can get at the concession stand?
Either are absolutely a good attempt to try to get back at me.
But yeah, so in terms of if we say that these are the top 6 players in franchise history, there's a couple of like exceptions. I think Cam Atkinson, I'm surprised, didn't get named.
Yeah, I thought about it. He
RJ
was
Umberger, I thought was a stealth candidate
for
being
for
named.
center. Yeah.
But yeah,
Oliver
Rick Nash.
Bjorkstrand.
So, yep.
David
Rick
Savard.
Nash, Nick Foligno, Johnny Gaudreau, Zach Werenski, Fedor Tutin, and Elvis Merzlikins versus Artemi Panarin, Patrik Laine, Brandon Dubinsky, Rusty Klasler, Seth Jones, and Sergei Bobrovsky.
You know who else
I feel
to
like
get
my
named?
team might take it, you know?
I think your team does take it. That's why I needed the
It's
canon
probably
on my
going to be like
side.
a 7-6 final, but I think my team might just take it.
Yeah, maybe we should figure out to make that happen in Chell sometime, and I can simulate it and live stream it
that would
or
be
something
fun.
for the happy hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have the better coach. I have the better goalie. I think you have the better blue line. It's a toss-up at left wing, honestly, in terms of the skill. I feel like Rick Nash with the size, he can do a lot of damage.
I would take, yeah.
I'm still taking Nash. Between Nash and Panarin, I've had time to sit on that. I think in my younger days, I used to be like, Panarin's the greatest player of all time. Like, I can't believe he left.
I think if Panarin had played a little more for the Blue Jackets, I might have been tempted to take him. But it's Rick Nash, man. You've got to take Rick Nash first. If you're drafting all-time Blue Jackets, Rick Nash has to be at the top of the list.
A younger me was just hurt when he left for New York. You know,
I wasn't.
It was
hurt
like
when he
LeBron.
Left earlier. I was hurt when he came back and punched Bob in the neck. That was the time where I was like, man, screw this guy, screw Rick Nash.
Bob stick checked him though. He stick checked him in the special area. And,
well, he's allowed to do that. Goalies get to do special things.
Yes. Yes.
That's
an all-time moment.
A really good article on Rick Nash that was released today by BlueJackets.com. I believe it was Jeff Svoboda's summer intern, whose name Caitlin, I believe her name is. She did a really good article on Rick Nash and the job he's doing with the Department of Player Development. So that was released earlier today at time of recording this. So yesterday, if you are watching this when it is released, and I don't know why you would be watching it earlier than that, but you should go check that out at BlueJackets.com. I think that's. I was just going to go into the outro, and then I was like, "It's not my turn to do the outro."
No, I can do the outro for you. I just like to think about guys. Did we say Matt Calvert? Did we say his name?
We didn't say Matt Calvert. He was another guy that I was like, "Oh, do I
Nikolai
go?"
Zherdev, another good left winger. Like we can take. I think it'd be fun. Maybe. How about this, guys? If we get to 500 subscribers, we will celebrate by drafting a second line because I feel like a second line could be fun. To do sometime. So we'll do that. Jay. That's all we have for you guys today. Tomorrow we have another division matchup. Jay is talking with the folks at Locked On Pens. Is it a rivalry? I guess we'll find out when Jay sits down.
I called us frenemies in the episode, if I can bring back that late 2000s vernacular.
So enjoy that tomorrow, guys. Thank you guys for making this your first listen every day. Locked On Blue Jackets is free and available on all podcast platforms, YouTube, and the SiriusXM app. If you are on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and stick around for more fun Blue Jackets content. My name's Hayden Househorn. You can find me on Twitter at HaydenH971. You can find Jay on Twitter at _JAKOBFORSTER. You can also email the show, lockedonbluejackets@gmail.com. Thank you once again for listening, and until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.